The Big House, the self-proclaimed world center of racing, Daytona International Speedway. It's a rare venue that is revered in two very different disciplines of motorsport. And tonight, we combined those disciplines into a brawl on the banks. Tonight, the venue will host a full Sim Spec Miata event with a truly unique rules package. The NC Spec Miatas will run at the regular series mandated weight, but at full power. They'll be as unleashed as they can be tonight on those high banks. Hi all, I'm Greg Creamer and welcome to Daytona for the Full Send Sims Esports Spec Miata 50. Producing and joining me to announce once again is Kyle Heyer, and Kyle, with a rule set that's pretty much geared toward, well, pure fun, I think this should be a most entertaining evening.
Oh, it absolutely will be. When's the last time you saw MX-5s racing at Daytona without taking the left into the infield? This is something totally new tonight, Greg. Racing on the high banks at Daytona, but never dipping into the International Horseshoe or the West Horseshoe. We're staying on the banks all the way around 2.5 miles for 50 laps. And over 25 cars here means big fields, big packs. This is like stock car racing with a quarter of the power.
I was going to say, stock cars with a pretty sizable restrictor on it. This should be a lot of fun. And, you know, we've seen with the drafting when we use the Roval, when we're in the infield a lot, it is amazing. So seeing them just on this full banking should be spectacular. And you've been sort of paying attention here. The speeds that these cars are getting are actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, over 140 miles an hour in the draft, which is quite a bit, especially for a car that's not known for being the most slippery as far as the Miata generations go. This NC has a pretty high coefficient of drag from that frontal area. It's got a high front bumper, but in the draft, over 140 miles an hour. Transitions to lap times that are about a minute and 3 to a minute and 5 seconds, somewhere in that range. It's going to feel very slow because of how big this racetrack is, but this is terminal velocity for these little cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's take a little bit of a look, if we can, here at what the rules are going to be tonight. Obviously, I've mentioned that they're going to be running at full power. They'll still be running the Full Send Sim Spec Miata Series minimum weight, but they'll be running full power. But there are lots of other things that have been adjusted for this.
Yeah, so of course, as we're running on an oval, we also have some oval rule adoption here tonight. One of the things we're going to have is full course yellows, yellow flag caution periods, but they're not the automatic ones that come with iRacing's oval officiating. They'll be manually triggered if there's something that needs to be attended to or to bunch the field back up for fun. We'll see how that gets applied tonight. Also with that, no damage. So if there's a big one, you can get rolling again immediately and rejoin the pack for the rest of the show. When we get towards the end of the 50-lap race, 3 attempts at NASCAR's or at least NASCAR style, green-white checkers, which means if we get to the white flag, the race will finish. If we get a caution right before it, we will re-rack, restack, and go again. And on top of that, we're running the old-fashioned restart style, Greg. I don't believe we're doing double file restarts, although that is something you can change during a race if you would like, so we can kind of see how the single file lapped on the inside restart strategy goes. But this is effectively a NASCAR race with NCMX5, so adopting not only the racetrack, but some of the rules set as well.
It's going to be absolutely a blast, and no crash damage, right?
Yes,
so
yep.
We can have the big one, and everybody just gathers it up and continues. That's going to be interesting. It
certainly will be, and that reduces your fear as a driver, right? Because normally you're trying to keep yourself out of trouble and keep the car running as well as possible for as long as possible and don't put any damage on the bodywork. But here you can take all the risks the entire time. Every time you come to a place like Daytona with stock cars, there's a specific strategy to running these races. There's either the strategy of run up front, stay out of the crashes, or run at the back to avoid the crashes and drive through the field at the end. Without that crash damage, throw it out the window. Be up front, race, make passes, split the difference. It doesn't matter. You can be aggressive all night long tonight.
And I think we're going to see that played out, aren't we? It should be a pretty fascinating to see this all happen without any doubt.
Yeah, it certainly will be. Let's have a look on board Beans Forster's car because he's got a very unique perspective here tonight. He's given us the over-the-shoulder, or I guess over the head view of his iRacing simulator. You see the triple screens there on the either side of his steering wheel, and just giving us a pretty unique perspective that you don't normally see when you give these guys the opportunity to join us here on camera.
I absolutely love this view because it just gives you a real feel, and you can see what he's doing with his driving, and I love this view. And you just look at them, and that's the other part of this equation. These things aren't hard tops. These are convertibles, And so at these speeds, that air buffeting inside these cars, obviously a driver in the sim's not going to get that, but it is going to keep the car moving. And look at that, all of that little bounce and move up there. Everybody's got to be accounting for those little bit of adjustments in this really dirty air.
Yeah, and this is just a slight bit of what you're going to see tonight in the 50-lap race, is all this pack racing and big slingshot maneuvers here. Look at the slide from the 44. This is practice. The other thing that we haven't mentioned yet, Greg, no qualifying. Oh man, there was a crash there. Everyone goes scattering. And you'll see the cars should heal themselves there after, there it is, after the crash happens. And the reason why that does that is so that the car still absorbs the energy. So it's not ping-ponging around elastically. But the other thing we didn't mention, no qualifying. Random grid for this 50-lap race. So that's going to bring a whole other element to it.
Well, and that's the one that I think is going to be absolutely fascinating here. Whoops, somebody just grinding along the wall up there. Maybe that was a ploy to look at, the run to the checker. That might be a line to use up there if there's a wreck in front of you. But I just think this is going to be great fun. And just letting these cars fly for 125 miles. One of the things is we are anticipating that they are going to have to do some pit stops, aren't they?
30% fuel load is about 3.8 gallons of fuel. And while these things do sip fuel in comparison to the counterparts that you'll see here on the Roval in about a month's time, I don't think that they can go 125 miles without stopping. So how long they're going to last is going to wildly depend on how much they've been following the car in front of them. The draft absolutely will save you fuel, and maybe that's part of the strategy tonight, Greg. Maybe tuck in line and don't lead laps so that you can save fuel and go a little longer or fuel a little lighter. And when do the cautions fall? This is something that we don't have to contend with normally in our road races, is full course cautions and how that can influence your pit strategy to make it through a race.
Absolutely. And, you've got to be thinking about that. And, the one thing that I'm kind of curious about with that no crash damage, obviously, if you're trying to come through the pack and you might think, well, just barge your way through. We do have our normal stewarding group in place, and they are watching for things like that. And one of the things is going to be you can't make a pass underneath that double yellow line. So this isn't an outright free-for-all. Andrew Benah and the steward team are going to have eyes up and really looking here, aren't they?
I think they're going to have a busy night, to be honest.
I agree with you.
It's going to be really hard to keep everybody in check, especially towards the end. The other one thing I'm curious about is that double yellow line. That's typically off limits in iRacing here at the Oval. There's nothing preventing you from doing it other than iRacing's sporting code, which only technically really applies as far as the competition rules go in official sessions. So have they chosen to enforce that double yellow line? That's a question I think we have yet to see. Typically it's fair game at the end of the race on the last lap coming through the tri-oval, but on the banked corners you're usually above that double yellow line by rule here in iRacing.
And the question is going to be if somebody gets positioned down there and they're right next to that double line underneath somebody and that other car comes down on them and they get forced over it. Is that something where iRacing would automatically set up a penalty, or is that something that is just going to be watched by stewarding as well? Yeah,
just watch. There's no penalty for at least iRacing applied for going down there, and that's a particular choice. They've talked about this year after year. Should they implement the slowdown penalty or something down there? But the reality is, it's designed as a buffer. It's a safe area to go to avoid accidents and things of the sort. So it's not really supposed to not be utilized, just not to pass effectively. NASCAR's rule is if you go down there, it's fine. You just have to get back up on the racetrack without passing anybody and without forcing your way back on course, blending back in seamlessly. But again, that's a NASCAR rule, not a full Sense Sims rule. I don't even know how much drivers have thought about that yet. But I bet you when they're 3 or 4 wide, they're going to start looking for places to go. This track is big, but these cars, they're going to fill it up when they're 3-4 wide.
Well, absolutely, and I've been seeing the cars when they're in those packs. They're moving around a fair bit, so you've got to count for that. And more than a few cars have. Oh, and there we go.
Oh man.
All right.
Well,
this is great because I cannot wait to see this just self-heal. I love it. Oh, my goodness.
That was a horrific crash. And then
we had a massive altitude record during our regular series, but that may have just reset that one. Look at that. Boom. I'm fine. I'm good. Let's go.
How about that?
Oh, jeez. He's not done there.
No. It's like something out of Days of Thunder.
There's the launch. Look at that.
Yeah,
just passed that car in the air, didn't it? That was impressive.
Despite the healing damage maybe allowing a bit more of an inelastic collision, it still does some funky things. This car is not one of iRacing's new damage model cars where that behavior has been reduced quite a bit. We're over 30 entries to this race. This is a big pack of cars.
This is wonderful. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, we're seeing right now it's Jeremy Fletcher who's up top driving the number 69. His best lap at a 1 minute 2.784 second lap, a quarter of a second clear of the field right now. Second would be the 44 of Alex McClellan at a 103.042. Then Eric Haywo, the number 16, at a 103.046. So that margin is 4 1/1000ths of a second. And it's really, really close here. Three-time series champ and real-world runoffs pole sitter. We're going to use that one a lot. Number 40, Morgan Burkhardt, sits in the fourth spot. Jean Reyes in fifth right now. Jim Friedhofer, Josh Soto, Colton Oldham, Jim Mayer, and Nathan Nicholson rounding up the top five. Camden Hibbett right there as well, Nicholas Rice-Puto. It's great to see, some of the full-season contenders with us, Kyle, as well as some new blood.
Yeah, there's a lot of new folks in here as well, which should be a lot of fun. Two rules clarifications as well. Just got note that there is no passing under the double yellow line tonight, so that rule is in effect. And the other thing I wanted to mention is if and when we get to the pit stop sequence, see the blue cone in the center of the screen there, a little bit small, but you'll see it there in the center of the screen. When you leave pit lane, you need to remain on the apron right here all the way until you pass this blue cone. Then there's that dotted white and black line. You're free to merge after that point. Up to that point, though, you have to stay on the apron so that you're not blending into traffic effectively in the banked corners.
Gotcha. And that just makes sense. Obviously the speeds are coming around on the banking. Things can get nasty in a hurry.
Well, warm-up is wrapping up, and again, this is going to be random grid and a 50-lap race. So
I love it.
Not that qualifying it might as well be random anyway when you're coming here qualifying in a stock car, but as far as there is some nuance to it, and you can kind of roughly predict where people are going to land, but it is tricky time after time. Qualifying's complete, Greg. We're heading into the race here shortly.
And it's going to turn around in a hurry. This is going to be fun, folks. Thank you, all of you who have tuned in. If you're new to this series, we hope you will join us throughout 2024, where we will have 3 more seasons of racing, and we'll probably touch on that a little bit as this unfolds. While we have a quick moment, we do have to, of course, say it's a massive thank you to Court Schmidt and Full Send Sims, who is the guy who created the Full Send Sim company, builds absolutely remarkable turnkey sims, and has envisioned this series that we've had so much fun with this year, and looking forward to it taking even grander steps next year. And then our associate sponsors, and they have been just wonderful. 3P Logistics, just absolutely fantastic what they've done with their track services. Final Turn Motorsports have been a huge supporter of this as well. And about midway through our third season, we were so delighted to have Wine Country Motorsports come on board, race gear and equipment, and just absolutely superb. So thank you to all of those sponsors. And of course, the biggest thank you goes out to Full Send Sims for envisioning this series. And then at the end of the year, this is one of the things that I love about Full Send Sims, and you're, of course, witness to this, Kyle, is the simple fact that when these drivers speak, the series listens, and if it's a reasonable request, or in this case, hey, we're all done with our 3 seasons in 2023, let's just have a fun race somewhere. And they said, let's do it. And here we are running into the darkness at Daytona on the oval. How much fun is this?
Just as you mentioned that, the lights popped on.
I know, that's what I saw.
And the funny thing is the random grid, is only as random as far as your iRating is concerned, because without a time, your iRating defaults you to your starting position. So what that means, real quick, with your starting lineup, we're not going to get through all of it. There's 33 cars starting this race. Morgan Burkhardt, though, on pole as he finished last season. Camden Hibbett will be alongside him in that front row, Greg.
Well, nobody's going to be thrilled to have him on pole. Matt Schweid will start third. Caleb Pocock fourth in the 66.
And Murphy Nichols and Beans Forster round out your third row.
Row 4, it's going to be Jeremy Fletcher, who was quickest in that practice session, and Nathan Nicholson.
And then behind them, the ninth place car, Jordan Butler in the 72. Joshua Soto starts 10th in the number 77.
Starting 11th, Gianni Morrow and Jim Mayer will start 12th.
And 13th place, Skip Brock Jr. Seth Spolman starts 14th in the 042.
15th, Andrew Wozencroft, and 16th, Luis Milares.
And then Alex McClellan in the 44. 17th, Nicholas Rice-Puto in 18th.
19th will be Jim Friedhofer, and 20th will be Les Sachik.
And we'll just skip through the rest of this here as we're rolling out of turn 3 and 4. Just one pace lap to get everything done. There's the rest of your starting lineup at the bottom of your screen. And it is going to be 50 laps of relative chaos here at Daytona. We've never seen anything like this, Greg. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, this should be just a blast, and we'll look for the pace truck. You don't see those very often either, so we're having fun at every level here. Watch for the green. Barney's got it raised in the air. We're green here for the Full Send Sim Spec Miata 50. Oh, big wiggle right in the middle of the pack. Another little touch. That yellow car didn't get the number, got all crossed up. And everybody so far saved it. Oh, there's the first brush of the wall, trying to go 5 wide down the super stretch. Yeah, it's already crazy, but as you might expect, Kyle, 2 rows inside and outside starting to form up front.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 rows for a little bit. I think we'll get condensed down to just 1 row a couple laps into this thing, and then we'll probably see 2 and 3 wide as the momentum builds here. But out of turn 2 down the back straightaway for the first time. Here comes the runs, the momentum.
And the interesting thing to me is with these cars in their top speed, running that outside row, is that just too much of a longer line around, or can you carry a little bit more momentum? We're going to see that play out, but now they've gone to 3 rows as they head down into NASCAR 3.
Here's Jeremy Fletcher in that 69, big push from the 72, wiggle and a wobble, the 66 turns around in the middle of 3 and 4, and lap 1, there's a crash down there. And
yeah, I think that was, Caleb Pocock is the guy who got turned. Oh, big crash in the, look at this, coming onto the front straight. 1, 2, we got 5, 6, 7 cars involved, self-healed. We're back at it again.
And well, there's the yellow flag, which actually I'm actually not upset about, because I needed to fix a timing issue, most notably the top of the ticker there. It's still set in time mode. And this yellow will give me the opportunity to correct that. So I'm excited for that opportunity. I was like, oh, man, I didn't want to go the whole race not being able to fix that. Before we do that, though, let's take a look at how this all went down, because it was a bit out of view. It was Caleb Pocock in the 66. It gets turned off the nose of...
And that's Beans, isn't it?
I think so. Ooh, he gets rolled over.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Look at the...
Cars tumbling everywhere.
Yeah, and that was up in front, not related, so there was a different incident right there.
Yeah.
It was that same yellow car that got bounced a couple of times. Man.
That's the 32 of Skip Brock Jr. gets turned across the road. Man, look at it. This just cleans out everybody.
He's crawling on top of a couple of cars there.
Yeah, and this is going to be...
Cow.
Oh, another car back across the road. This is going to be the learning experience, though. They've decided already what isn't going to work, and they're going to learn this a few more times tonight, I think.
Yep, and obviously, like I said, watching that practice, when these cars get in these packs, they start to dart around just a little bit, and I think they've got to be paying a little bit of attention to that, Kyle, because if they don't, it's going to be a wreck fest. And I got to tell you, I was impressed with the pace of that pickup truck going to the front of the field.
I think a lot of this is just going to be run management, right? Because you've got all this speed and momentum every lap because the huge draft. You just have to learn how to manage that run, especially right when you are about to apply a bump draft. And this is not any different than what you do in a stock car. But I think the runs are even bigger because of the drag to horsepower ratio of these cars.
I think that makes absolute sense. So yeah, you've got to be prepared for it. And the common rule is you don't want to bump draft somebody as they're starting to turn. And even on this 31-degree banking, that little contact when you're on the edge is going to have a deleterious effect, might we say?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I also think, again, the way that we restart these races is going to change some things as well, especially if we've got single-file restarts. It will change how the runs build. And then how aggressive do you get blocking up front? And really, that's a different skill here in oval racing than it would be in road racing, where that's kind of looked down upon. But in oval racing, you have to throw the block. That's the whole point of running and leading here at Daytona. That's all part of the game. And you're going to have to play it tonight, even if everyone around you is upset.
All right, now it looks like we're going to go to a side-by-side two-row restart, Kyle.
Looks like it. Got the ticker showing the right numbers now, which I'm very excited about.
And remember, keep an eye on that number, the car in fifth, the 69 of Fletcher. He was quickest in that practice and got forced with that random down the order a bit, but he's already worked his way up a few spots here. So he seems to be pretty dialed up for what's about to unfold here.
31-degree banking here at Daytona, and it is intense on board the gyro-stabilized cam here. Always wondered why that arm strap was stamped right to the radio in the center stack there.
Exactly.
All right, Greg.
Whatever works.
We got the time acceleration as well. Didn't mention that earlier, but 8x time acceleration, so this should be fun coming to the restart.
All right, here we go, and Burkhardt down to the inside. Hibbett on the outside as we are green. Max Schweid taking a look, trying to get underneath Hibbett enough, and watch the number 69, Fletcher, as he makes a move, trying to get around the outside of Josh Soto, and everybody fanning out. We got 3 packs of 2 across that front row. Boy, really working that high line here, trying to make something happen, Kyle.
Yeah, on board with Beans Forster now as he navigates the bottom groove here. Safe place to be for the long run here because you've got a place to bail. You don't have that on the high side. If there's a crash underneath to your left, you're going to be in it as they slide up the banking. And there's already trouble again on the back straightaway.
Oh, boy, cars going every which way possible out there. Trying to, and I'm not sure that first car, I said it may have been Beans in that first wreck. I don't think it was him.
Oh, more trouble at the front
More
this time.
trouble at the front.
Josh Soto.
What a save by Josh.
We stay green.
So far, we're green.
Oh, more trouble.
Big wiggle there. I think that was Trey's hands there. Oh, and he just got right into the side of the 29.
And there's the caution.
There it is. All right.
Oh, pace truck almost turned onto the road there. And I'll bet that
this is nuts.
I'll bet you that the communications will probably be as such that if you don't clean it up, we're not going to throw the yellow. So they're going to have to figure it out because they don't want to do this for 50 laps. But let's go back and see
Look
if
at
we
that truck just drifting. I love it.
It has to get up and catch the field. Let's go back again and look at that initial wreck on the back straightaway.
All right.
And see how that all kicked off. It was already going out. There was Brock Jr. He was at the back of that. There was another car that was involved. They spread out so much. It's hard to figure out where it started.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
There was the big one right there in the middle again.
Oh, here it is. Let's slow this down. This is the 22 of Rich Green. There's Skip Brock, and then there's the 03 of, is that Rice Puto?
Oh, that's Rice Puto. Fitting that the 22 is sponsored by Iron Maiden.
And they just get, the 22 kind of keeps coming, and then into the fence they go.
Now, was that a case, do you think, of not being aware that that driver was on the outside, or the car he just lost control?
I would imagine it's more of the former. The reason why I say that is because these cars at 140 miles an hour, their terminal velocity around here, they don't have enough power or momentum to overcome their front grip. So they're going to be easily maneuverable in any direction, even at full blast. The one thing we do have to contend with, though, is iRacing Spotter won't alert you if you're more than 3 cars wide. So it'll tell you up to 3 wide. But if you're 4 cars wide, it will not tell you that there's a 4th car there. It's not built into the code to do that. So if once you're 3 wide, you have to be really careful, because if you go 4, you won't know.
All right. Well, let's see. There is
lights are out on the pace
Fletcher
truck.
and Reyes, the 2 teammates, sitting second and third right now.
Nice quick
All
yellow
right, now
sub.
they start to form up. Pocock heading down into the pits, it looks like.
I think he's getting a lap back, it looks like, so he'll rejoin the tail of the field. Everyone's on the lead lap still. And as the lights have extinguished on the pace truck, that does signify that we're going green. And I know we haven't seen this signal a lot here on SimTV for the Full Send Sim series because we're normally running road races, Greg, but as soon as those flag icons go purple, that's the 1 to green side.
Gotcha. All right. Well, they're forming up nicely early here, which is a good thing. And I wonder, do you think would Pocock maybe duck into the pits and get some fuel since he's so far back? No, he's just hammering around.
He's
catch the field.
I don't think he's going to get there. He's still at the start-finish line, and we are currently still entering 3. So,
yeah,
he has been to pit lane once. I'm not sure doing what, but he probably has a couple laps more fuel.
Well, and I think he's probably a smart man, betting there'll probably be another caution coming up.
I would say so.
Get to the back, and if he did fuel up already, then he could easily jump to the front when everybody pits and get right back into this. It's going to be interesting here. Hibbett, who had a great season in the full season with us, and Fletcher, fastest guy in the practice session, bringing us around. Rays, Hans, right there as well. There's a look at Camden. Morgan Burkhardt, who started in that front position, sitting in 5th right now.
Oh man, it's amazing how quick they fan out. And look at the run up the center from who's that in the middle? Getting a big shove.
Goodness. Yeah.
Oh, there's some weird stuff happening right now. There's some cars phasing through each other.
I know, that's unbelievable. There's a big one.
More cars bouncing off each other in the background, but the front dozen or so still line astern here.
I think that may have been Court that was caught up in that one.
Oh,
that is the number 16 of Eric Haywo, who I think got that absolutely mega start.
Yeah, one of these cars does not have the greatest internet connection because they keep phasing through other cars, which is very confusing.
So the two teammates controlling things at the front right now with Fletcher and now Ortiz, another of those teammates, and they are right at the back. Jorge Ortiz had a hell of a restart, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I think he was the one who actually came from deep from nowhere.
I think you're right. It was one of these pink cars, the JFR cars. They're 4 wide there from second on back as Max Schweid takes the lead away.
Boy, he just got a massive multiple toe, went high, went around, but now, right in the middle of the pack, and Hibbett's gone. You can see that grimace he has right there trying to save it here. Cars every which way in the back.
And Schweid out of the lead gets turned around out of 2.
Oh, my goodness. So I think Fletcher, was he one of the ones? He got caught up in this.
Yes, he did. Fletcher, where did he land?
Oh, boy.
Down in 14th place. All the while, green flag still flies. Ortiz, Hewo, Wozencroft, and Reyes, kind of a lonely 4, maybe Burkhardt 5. There's a 3-car train here, 6th, 7th, 8th, Murphy Nichols, Beans Forster, and Nathan Nicholson.
They're having a fun little scrap here. It looks like Beans has eased his way in front of Nicholson at this stage with a little push as well, it looks like.
And there's the caution. And we'll re-rack him and restack him. Ooh, watch the brakes here as everyone slows down for that pace truck.
Watch him pitch it sideways here. Wozencroft. Look at that truck drift.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's too fun. We might see the pace truck wreck.
I mean, there was a glitch at Sonoma. I think it's patched out now, but the pace car, you know how Sonoma's got that pit wall before the hairpin?
Yes.
It used to turn onto pit lane too late, so it would make the left after it had passed the pit entry, and it would just smash and then grind the pit wall all the way around the hairpin, still on the racetrack.
So what's happening here, Kyle? Wozencroft, I thought, was clearly had gone to the front with those wrecks, and suddenly he's cycling back to 3rd. Had he maybe not slowed down when the yellow came out?
Well, the positions are frozen.
I thought he'd been leading, yeah.
Positions are frozen at the time of yellow. But I think maybe when the yellow came out, he was 3rd.
That makes sense.
And then he had gone to the lead. We'll see it here.
There was the yellow, and he was 3rd. Yep. Okay.
And then I think everyone else just slowed down a little quicker than he did. Pit stops. Here comes Morgan Burkhardt. Let's follow him down and see what they do.
And Nathan Nicholson coming in, and
Murphy
John
Nichols.
Reyes as well. Murphy Nichols, as you said. So let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, do they take tires is my question. I don't think Well, see, miss pit stall there. There's Morgan in pit lane. No tires, just fuel.
Interesting to see how much. So 13 seconds for Morgan in terms of fuel in pit lane. It'll be interesting to see what some of the others do.
This tells me that we're absolutely going to have to pit a couple of times, because
yeah,
you wouldn't pit this early unless you knew you needed to do that. I'd bet maybe one more time down pit lane after this would be my bet. 2 stops.
I'll tell you, we've had a couple of guys that have taken 15 seconds worth of fuel. Morgan and that group that just came in all took 30 seconds or more of fuel. So some people are playing a little strategic game here, shortening up the amount of fuel they're taking to try and get to the front, I think.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, they must, I've never pitted one of these cars, admittedly, because you don't normally run them in races long enough to need a pit stop. I wonder how long it takes to fuel them, because their capacity is only 3.8 gallons because of the limited tank. But all questions to be answered here. We're a fifth of the way through it already, and this race will go pretty quick once the laps are turning.
So it's Haywo, Wozencroft, Forrester, and there is the 16 of Haywo, then the 80 of Wozencroft. There's Forrester, the 03 of Nicholas Rice-Puto, who had an absolutely stellar third season of the Full Send Sims Spec Miata Championship Series. Doing a great job. And then the 89 of Jim Friedhofer rounding out your top 5 right now with Schweid, Mayer, Luke Law, Fletcher, who is, by virtue of some of those stops, at least gets back into the top 10. We know he's quick.
1 lap to the restart. Lights are out on the pace truck. And there's a couple cars that are on pit lane that have not returned to the racetrack. Josh Soto rather has. Trace Hans has. So it's just Pocock that is on pit road that has not returned to it. He's been on pit road now for 3 minutes, not fixing damage because there's no damage to fix.
I wonder what he's dealing with here. That's unfortunate. One of my absolute favorite liveries in our series.
That is a good-looking car.
It is.
Now 2 laps down, so he would need a couple. Back when they used to call it the Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass, which was I thought was one of the world's best branding exercises. Next to the Energizer battery on the roll hoop of the current Williams F1 car. That's probably up there as well.
That's not bad either, is it? Yeah. All right. Well, as you said, 5th of the way through it. And what is this, our 3rd caution?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And like I said, because these are not automatically triggered yellows, so, you know, unlike a race where you've got points on the line and you've got stewards that are intending to, keep the peace the proper way, you could probably wear them out with all the yellows tonight, and they might just stop throwing them. We've seen them get progressively less liberal, so that means that, you got to keep the car on the road because you might not get a yellow and you'll have to draft back the old-fashioned way. Yeah. Which I might just turn them loose and the survival of the fittest and just see what happens.
Well, at a certain point, yeah, I think if it's just wreck after wreck after wreck, I think at a certain point you just have to say, look, we got to get this done before, midnight. So.
Well, let's see who's going to get in the pumpkin carriage and go home. Here we go, Greg.
Our 4th stab at it about to begin here.
Oh, big checkup.
Haywo rolling in early.
And big stack up here in the back of the field as everyone gets up to speed again. You can push pretty hard. You just can't slam draft. You have to get up to the bumper and then initiate that push. But Haywo gone.
Yeah, he just got a massive start here. I think that's Beans that has worked his way up, sits in by about a foot right now in 2nd spot. There he is, down low. Looks like Rice-Puto up on the outside. Then Friedhofer, who's driving a really steady, smart race. Schweid right there, who's kept his nose fairly clean.
And
Haywo up on that outside line.
Yeah, he's going to learn really quick. This is why, even in the real world NASCAR races here, you don't want to get out to such a big push because everyone's just going to run you down by the end of the lap. Look at Rice-Puto with a push from Gianni Morrow
And did you see the push he got? He came through the middle of the 2 rows, got a massive double side toe, and then just bounced into the back of Rice Pudo, and Rice Pudo looked like he was shot out of a cannon.
And what's going on here?
Going right with him. Yeah, and Schweid jammed in with him too. 2 more cars coming in.
Yeah, on the pit lane under green, including Morgan Burkhardt. I don't know if that's a penalty or something else, because I don't know why you would do that.
No, me either. That's intriguing.
Could be a restart violation as well, because we're on an oval. You have to abide by the Geico restart zone. So perhaps that they had jumped the start as opposed to the leader. Look at the 80 of Wozencroft in the middle of 3 wide. Oh, he gets turned.
Oh, and he gets turned. He's sideways. And guess who is involved again? This poor man, Skip Brock Jr. I think he's been involved in every wreck tonight, and I'm not sure he's caused one of them.
No.
He is the human pinball. He just has the worst luck. He's so fast. So we're just staying with it up front. Rice Pudo. Morrow is all over the back of Rice Pudo's bumper, and a couple of times he's loosened Nick up pretty good. Nick's done a great job of saving it. Haywo, third in that. But look at Schweid now. He's trying to make that move up the middle, get all those side drafts.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it's tight, tight, tight.
Thought he was going to push Beans, but Beans drifted a little wide. Pace truck's out, caution's out, right as they pass the pace truck. And under rest again. Let's go back and look at Skip Brock's unfortunate involvement.
Yeah.
Some days you're the bat, some days you're the ball.
All looks good. He's right alongside Andrew Wozencroft here. And Woz got turned, and that's what started it right there.
Yeah, the 47 turned there. Then everybody's in it. I mean, at that point.
Yeah.
Cars tumbling everywhere. And there's some that just see the gaps in traffic and they tried to go. Whoa, was that car in the back? Holy cow. Trying to see who that was.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
That was the 22. Rich Green saw the C's part and missed.
Yeah. Oh,
man.
Well, hey, that was a hero or zero move, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to go back and watch the onboard here.
If he'd scooched through that, he was golden.
Remember that thing I said in the opening about how with the damage off, there's no fear?
Yep, here you go. Look at that.
Bam.
Oh.
Fuel
At least he didn't go airborne.
I suppose if you could find a silver lining.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, it's a stretch, but all right, a lot more cars now making the move down into the pits.
It's hard to keep track of them all. Schweid, Forster is one of them as well. We have a unique perspective of him tonight as he finds the lollipop man and comes to a stop.
Yeah, Friedhofer. Hibbett, I think, is in. Yep. Skip Brock, so yeah. There's Beans, who's, he's going to be a factor in this. I love that.
So just to keep...
love that onboard view giving us that.
That's cool. It's a cool shot for sure. I just wanted to keep everything in context here as far as pit stops are concerned. About half the field has made a pit stop. And with a few exceptions, the top half of the runners right now have not yet made a stop. So that tells me they can go at least 15 laps, probably at least 20 as far as their fuel mileage is concerned. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to not pit and then have us go green for 20 laps and then need to pit when you have an opportunity to do it right now.
That's the strategy you got to be careful of. Highest runner right now of those who pitted. So in theory, effectively your front runner would be 55 Murphy Nichols, who sits in 6th right now. He's got a lot more fuel on board, though, than Jorge Ortiz.
About 10 laps, which is
with him, yeah.
25 miles worth of fuel, which could add up to be quite a bit. Every time we announce oval racing here in iRacing, and even in the real world, you talk about track position a lot, and everyone always looks at me confused when I mention the term track position, because they're like, of course you want track position. Isn't that the whole idea? Well, yes, but track position is position now.
Exactly.
And that's not something you always need, right? Because they're only scoring points or the wins or whatever you may have at the end of the race. So sometimes it's a short-term gain, long-term loss sort of situation. If you're having trouble passing or it's a tough racetrack to make passes, sometimes you want to just get ahead, even if you're giving up some other advantage, whether it be tires or fuel or something else, where on tracks where that passing and making overtakes is a little easier, you might want to give up your current position to give yourself a long-term lasting advantage. So that's something to consider tonight as well.
Well, and that's all part of the strategy you kind of have to work through. And the biggest thing is to remember you got to play the long game, right? You got to think about where you're going to be at the end, exactly what you're talking about, and not just think about where you are right now, because it might be advantageous to get out of a pack and be able to just run free for a little bit when everybody's bouncing around and slowing each other up. So interesting to see how this plays out.
We're restarting on lap 17 of 50. And we'll see how the restarts go. So I wanted to clarify again the restart zone situation because we are on one of NASCAR's ovals. See that blue zone with the Geico branding in it? The leader has the choice to accelerate anywhere in that zone. If they get to the end of the zone, then the green flag will fly and then you'll restart the race. But the leader has an advantage by they can restart whenever they would like in that zone. No one else can go until the leader goes. So if someone in the back is trying to game this and get a jump, they are going to get penalized, which I think is what happened to a couple of the cars that hit pit lane for a drive-through penalty on the last restart. This is not a rule that many of these drivers will be familiar with because not a lot of these drivers have oval racing experience.
And that zone isn't really that big, is it?
No, it's not. And you don't have to, everyone doesn't have to wait to get to that zone to go. It's just the leader. So as soon as the leader accelerates, you can go. But you can't always see the leader, so you're kind of waiting on the guy ahead of you.
Well, and my point was going to be, as watch for the green flag to come out, if the leader waits till the end of the zone, everybody behind then, now they know when that green's coming out.
Right there. See, you got to the end of the zone and then the green flew. So that's what everyone's waiting for. We did single file restarts this time. It's going to spread us out a bit more. Let's see how big the runs get. Here comes Jeremy Shepard and Seth Spolman. Shepard's in the blue car on the bottom. Spolman's in the green car up top.
And I think Rice-Puto, I mean, he waited till the end of that zone, and I think Mario got a little bit of a run as a result. Timed it right. But Nick doing a nice job.
Look who's back.
Yeah, Fletch is coming. As you can see, he started 7th, dropped all the way down to 22nd with that incident. Has run as high as 2nd, and he and his teammate, that's Jorge Ortiz, I think, are working together beautifully right now.
And Alex McClellan following as well. Look at how much speed they're carrying. Look at the 44 double slipstream here. He's going to go to the outside.
Yeah. At a certain point, you've just got, you've got so much of a run, you've just got to get out of it. He actually brushes the wall, and that's going to lose all of that momentum he had built up. You can see how much these cars dart and move here.
Tight quarters here. Greg Ginsburg gets turned. And he saves it. Dave Brown, though, gets the short end of the stick and slides around backwards.
All right. Well, that might not bring out a caution here.
This might, though.
Oh, good Lord. 4 abreast here.
Oh,
big wheel up. Oh, and he saved it. That was Jorge, but then he get tapped by, I think that was the 55 tapped him.
Holy.
And here we go.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Wow. Car on its roof over there as well.
Yeah. Somebody doing a wheelie right by the camera.
Morgan Burkhardt.
That's Morgan Burkhardt.
And he is reset. We are still under green. 3-car breakaway here at the front. And Jeremy Fletcher survived it.
Yeah, Fletcher, Rice-Puto, and the 44 of McClellan.
And there's the yellow.
There it is. Oh, boy. So that is, by my count, that's yellow number 5.
Oh, man. It just once
this. It was going to work, but that tap right there, where is it? Coming up. Right there. Yeah, Nicholson just got into him, and look at the air that Brock got again.
Oh, man. Was that Brock the first car, or was that the second car that came through this shot?
That was Brock, the first car that sort of went up and did a little pirouette. Look at that.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, someone got launched.
I think that was our wheelie car.
Oh, there's a car. It was stuck in the fence.
Oh, is that what it was?
Who was that? I need to find out who that was.
I didn't catch the number. Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Hold on. This is worth some investigation. I need to find someone who could see it. That was the 13.
That went
Colton
viciously
Oldham.
airborne. Yeah, wow.
Like a spider stuck up on the outside fence here.
Look at that.
Have you ever?
I've never seen that.
Oh, man.
That right rear stuck into that seam.
Well, it is the time to be hanging Christmas ornaments about now, but
Well, there you go.
full-size
There you go.
Miata and the catch fence at Daytona is not what I had on my radar. Here comes everyone that had not yet pit down pit road.
Well, I think that's getting back to your comment. I think this is a really, really good ploy because if after this we ended up getting a long period of green, they could have been in real trouble. So smart move, take advantage of it.
Now, some of those that have already pit have stayed on the racetrack, including Jordan Butler, who will take over the lead. Eric Hewo, Skip Brock Jr., Wayne Buttermore, and Luke Law, your top five. Max Schweid's up there as well. Trace Hance, Jim Friedhofer. And those that were leading that group will return off of pit lane about 14th or 15th place.
And we have three guys right now who are a lap down: Court Schmidt, Josh Soto, and Caleb Pocock. And for Caleb, I'm stunned he's only a lap down. He's done a nice job of getting around here. But Soto and Schmidt, and it doesn't show Court as a lap down, but it only shows him as completing 17 laps. So maybe he's right now fighting to get back onto that lead lap.
I show him at 19. I don't know, reboot your timing, but that's interesting.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so he is on the lead lap. There's
ignore what I just said.
There's about 6 or 7 cars that are laps down. Caleb Pocock is the only driver 1 lap down, which means that he could get back on the lead lap fairly easily. Morgan Burkhardt looks like
Caleb and Court, right, are 1 lap down.
Court is technically, he's not, but he's right in front of the leader behind the pace truck.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, gotcha.
So he's trying to get the wave around here, but I don't know if that's how they've got the rules set up. There's a couple different ways to handle lap cars. You can either have them go to the back of the pack on the restart, or you'll get waved by. Anyone trapped between the pace car and the leader would get to catch the tail of the field again.
Now, if you get told to go to the back, does that mean now you are a lap down?
Yes. So let's see what happens here. He should. Oh, lights are out. You also have the opportunity in the rule set to leave it as is with the running order as it was caught by the pace truck, which appears to be at this point. Oh, there goes Court. There's the wave around. There's a lot of different nuance in the oval rules. You can do all.
Yeah,
you can
sure is.
Kind of make whatever you want to make, but it does get complicated, especially if you're using a smattering of them. If you're running NASCAR rules, it's one thing. If you're running IndyCar rules, it's another thing. But you can pick and choose and kind of create your own evil combination of weird, obscure oval racing rule sets.
Well, speaking of weird and obscure things, we have seen in our 5 cautions, at least in 4 of them, Skip Brock has been a yellow pinball, and he's 3rd.
Well, that's, you know.
This is so fun.
I said some days you're the bat, some days you're the ball. Well, Skip Brock Jr. might just be a home run ball here shortly.
Exactly.
Gets hit all the way to the fence.
That's the nice way of saying some days you're the windshield, some days you're the bug. Right?
Yes. Yeah, there's no victory story at the end of the bug and windshield version.
Well, this is true. This is true.
All right, single file restarts again. Pretty sizable gaps between cars as well.
Yeah.
So again, going back to the earlier restart when we saw Hewo get a jump, you don't want to get a jump because that'll just make the slingshot as the field catches you that much stronger.
Yeah, we saw that play out, didn't it?
Yep. Pace truck's off. Here we go, Greg. Lap 22.
All right. This time, 72, Jordan Butler leading him to the line with Haywo and Skip Brock in close tour. Close concert, I should say. Buttermore, Luke Law right there as well. And we are green again. And a nice restart by the 33 of Luke Law. Got up around Wayne, going past as well right now on Skip Brock. He went from 5th to 3rd just that quick. Haywo pops to the outside. And he's got some help now from the 33 of Law if they decide to push the envelope a little bit, and Brock coming up to give Butler a little bit of an assist.
I'm watching Cam Hibbett here because he's at the back of this with a big run coming. Is he going to sit on it, or is he going to go to the outside? He's going to lift. I thought he might try to make it 3 abreast there, but they're already doing that as Jean Reyes takes the lead away and drops to the bottom.
Nice move there, and look at Trace Hance. Got a great run as well when he got up and got into that toe. And here we go. Hibbett involved again. Caleb Pocock.
Only a handful of cars, I believe, so we'll see. Oh, oh, what in the physics is going on there? Oh, man, cars turned around, bouncing off each other again. Someone shooting down to the inside wall. That's Jim Mayer. Just missed it. And the leaders.
Wow. Oh, everybody goes. I think that was Luke Law maybe that got through unscathed. But you can see that whole front pack now has come to grief.
Holy cow. And this started with Trace Hance getting turned, and then Skip Rock, of course.
Of course.
We should have known. And then
he got into the wall. I think Trace hit the wall on the outside, and it turned him right in front of everybody. And Luke Law and Jordan Butler both doing nice jobs of evasive. Boy, that grass still has grip, doesn't it?
It sure does. That's one of the things that the new iRacing build is supposed to address again. They've mentioned improved off-track physics, which I think grass would fall into.
Yes.
So,
well, you know, we saw earlier before they made the first change where the grass was nothing, just keep going. And they made that change, and it was like the pendulum went a little bit too far because you dropped a tire and you just hooked and flipped.
Yeah.
So and obviously that's a tough thing to write code for, so I'm sure they're just continually going to massage it. They'll get it right. Let me look what they've done with all the other graphics.
Well, I think in particular grass is tricky because it's acts like very different surfaces depending on what speed, how much load, and how bumpy the subsurface is. So there's just a lot going on. You know, it's not just changing one number, as with many iRacing parameters. One of the, while we're on the oval topic, one of the major changes coming in tomorrow's build is a major rewrite to iRacing's dynamic track system, which will adjust how much heat is put into the racetrack by moving race cars and how much heat is transferred around. So what that effectively will hopefully do is improve multi-groove oval racing. So when cars are overusing a particular section of the bottom of the racetrack, for example, you can find more grip up top and move around the racetrack to find grip in different places, which hasn't quite worked right for the last couple of years. They had it awesome kind of right around the pandemic time, but there were some changes then that seemed to have thrown that off kilter just a touch. Other new content coming tomorrow, the Audi R8 GT3 Evo 2, as well as a rescan of iRacing's Okayama circuit. And Mugello is coming tomorrow as well, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, Mugello?
Yep. And
that track is something.
It is going to be iRacing's first example of a racetrack with fully 3D modeled and implemented ripple curbing. So each of the teeth is modeled correctly now, so you can get the full effect.
Well, you know what I would do is I would get a hold of Court at Full Send Sims and get their new ultimate rig on the 4-post shaker rig.
Yeah, that was
get yourself some full motion.
It was fascinating listening to the developers talk about the curbing project because it's been known for a while that that was something that they've been working on improving. And I'm going to try to find because I found some. So basically, iRacing's physics runs at 360 hertz, so 360 times a second. Math is being calculated to determine how much grip your tire has. Basically, you can catch individual teeth with your tires. Once you get over a certain speed, your tires are basically floating over the teeth. So basically he said that the developer said that he can drive over the curbs and basically feel each individual tooth until you get to a certain speed where your tires are naturally just kind of skipping over some. So
Sure. Kind of like when you're riding a motorcycle on a railroad track.
Yes.
When you hit the ties, and at a certain point, it just smooths out.
So all very exciting. One of the major things they had to address with that style of curbing being fully modeled in the world is not hooking the undersides of cars and something they call snagging.
Okay.
Car contact physics are a very tricky thing to get right, especially when you've got sharp edges. And what would happen is if you got on the curb the wrong way, it would basically snag the car and you'd go from 150 to 0 immediately.
Oh.
And that was something that they've had to fix. So
yeah, that's a violent stop.
yes. And it would probably result in your car getting thrown into the ether right after that.
Yeah, exactly.
And also driving over them backwards. Think about how nasty ripple curbing is driving over it backwards and how much more of a challenge that would be to get right in a simulator.
Yeah, that's got to, yeah.
Halfway
Exactly.
through.
All right,
26.
halfway through, and by my count, should be wrapping up our 6th caution.
No different than any oval race I've done before. We had a race at Milwaukee last week with some...
It's one of my absolute favorite ovals.
Yeah, it's not something... I haven't been to Milwaukee here in iRacing in probably 3 or 4 years. And we were treated to 14 yellow flags.
Oh, boy.
But shorter track, so it's they happen a little quicker, but... Some days you have.
I'll tell you what, Indy cars on the Milwaukee Oval were when it was the kart championship was just magic.
And they're coming back.
You would almost drive that the corners you could run too wide through the corners, but you had to brake and down change. It was just so much fun to call a race there with the Indy cars.
Yeah, super cool. They're coming back this year as well. All in all, just so much fun. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun to get rolling here.
Should be great fun.
I was going to mention
right.
the previous SimTV caution record. We're not going to get there. Mathematically impossible tonight. 24 cautions at a race at Martinsville a couple of years ago.
Yikes. All right, here we go. We're in the zone. 4 cars locked together. Huge move by Brock in the back once again. Timed it to perfection. Reyes going with him. And that purple and black car, look at the speed. Reyes came through, and he went from, I think, 7th or 8th right to the point. I thought Brock got a great launch, Kyle, and then Reyes just went right by the outside of him like he was standing still.
Yeah, he timed that perfectly because I think what they've realized is that the leaders are not using the restart zone. Each time they're going to the end of the zone, which means that the drivers behind can time it. That's the point of the zone, is to throw off the drivers behind you. If they're not doing it, take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to go in the middle of that zone.
One car, it's Johnny Morrow, all by himself, has gone around.
Everybody seemed to save that here. Back to the front, Reyes, Brock, Schweid, a little bit of a gap over Wozencroft. Bryce Pudo tucks in behind him, dropping low. Law, who led to the flag, suddenly finds himself back in 6th. Is how quick things are changing here. Ooh, Bryce Pudo almost got into the corner of Wozencroft. And a nice drop-down move by Ortiz, the 311. And there's another moment. Just 2 cars involved, though.
Jim Meyer and Luke Law are the 2 involved.
And Luke able to save it.
Eric Hello got looped, but he got right back the right direction.
Oh, Bryce Pudo almost, almost turned Brock. I'll tell you, it really seems to me like, some of these drivers are not really getting a sense of who's off to their side at all.
Yeah.
They're not clearing these guys. There's a doubled bump draft trying to advance the 29 of Reyes as he needed it because he just lost that spot to Schweid, the blue car, or the black car with the blue lettering. Here comes, what a move by the 69 of Fletcher trying to come back here. He came from out of the top 10 on that restart. Kylie's 5th.
Getting condensed here again. Just no ability to stretch it out as everyone kind of accordions back together. Leaders bouncing off each other. Schweid and Ortiz, 3 abreast, 3 rows deep behind him. 3 for the lead.
Oh, look at this. Who is it going to be at the line? It's Soto. Remember, not long ago, as we have another big one. But remember, Kyle, not long ago, I was talking about Soto being outside of the top 25. And he just took the lead with Kurt Schmidt now, picking the lead up.
Whoop.
And then Soto gets turned by the 311 of Ortiz.
And Kurt Schmidt finds himself a lonely leader as they leave turn 2.
Holy moly, Rocky.
And there's
Yellow
the
flag. That's number 7. And I could have easily missed one here, folks. So
on my new graphics that I'm working on, I have a counter for it so you can display it. It's not usually a fun graphic to pull up.
No.
If you've lost count, but well, where did that all start? Let's see if we can go back and pick up. Well, trying to figure out who was in all that. Forster's a couple laps down now.
Yeah,
well,
he needed this.
A safe bet is to find Skip Brock. And
pretty much right. Start your journey.
This one he picked his way through, I think.
He did.
Just driving through the junkyard. Look at this. Rice Sputo was one of them.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh yeah,
right there.
The third.
There's a 69 of Fletcher
and Schweid in the middle of it.
Yep. Rice Pudo caught up there, of course, as you said, is Brock. Boy, Rice Pudo there. Look at that. He got the double tap and went for a mega ride.
And Morgan
Ends
Burkhardt.
up on top of Burkhardt.
Yeah, Burkhardt was a couple laps down at one point, and he's back to 20th. So here's another thing we should note. We are just over 20 laps to go. You can make it on fuel from here. So why, I guess, in my brain, I would just pit and be done with it.
I would sure think. Be light at the end, have a little bit more straight line, yeah. Let's see if anybody plays that gambit here.
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess maybe not enough if you go green to the end, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't think you're going to plan for that. Let's see.
Well, yeah, why not roll the dice? You know?
Court
go for that track position.
Court's got 11 laps on his tank, so I would expect him to go, but he has not. Nobody else is going to take that opportunity. That's surprising to me. The rest of the field's still catching up.
Yeah.
Turns 3 and 4 is a busy place.
Yes, it certainly is right now.
NASCAR used to run graphics that would show you the car numbers involved in a wreck.
Yep.
And there was a couple times that people joked that it'd be easier to tell you who wasn't in the wreck, and I think we're kind of at that stage as well.
I think you're absolutely right.
I wonder what the incident counts are. Remember, you get a 4X every time you make significant car contact. I'd be really curious to see what the car contact counts are.
There's that great look on board Beans.
Where is Beans? Scored 28th, 2 laps down. But if we've learned anything tonight, being laps down doesn't seem to be a big hindrance on your running order.
Yep, you get a caution at the right time, you can work your way up. Let's see what he can do here.
Curious if anybody, I mean, they're going to have one more lap under yellow to pit, but you wouldn't pit the second time around, I don't think.
No.
Unless
you'd give it up going green.
Yeah. The other thing, I guess, maybe if you were really far back and trying to make up time, maybe you'd want to just catch up the first lap and then pit, but.
That could be, yep.
Ow, my cat he was stretching his paws and got me in the leg. So 20 laps.
It's going to be interesting to see whether anybody does duck here at the last minute.
Yeah, again,
come out, you may come out at the back of the pack, but there's going to be another big one.
Yeah, Luke Law pit, I believe, this past time. He's got 3 laps on his fuel, so he's probably good.
Camden Hibbett's got 5 laps. But Jordan Butler, 0-0, the next group of guys, all pitted, it looks like. Be interesting.
Yeah, you're right. From Jordan Butler on back, they are good to the end on fuel.
Yeah. Assuming we get another few cautions, which, like you said, if you're a betting man, I wouldn't take that bet. Because we're gonna. So what is it again that goes purple that indicates?
That's the 1 to green. There's no flag in, at least that I know of in motorsports, that signifies 1 to go. It's usually just lights out on the pace car.
Right.
And so I picked purple.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Because it wasn't used for any other flag.
Oh, up in the banner there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
There should be a flag for that, but
yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what Josh Soto can do here, because he led much of that practice session and ended up, I think, 5th. So he certainly has some pace here, and he's been in the wars and has come out up into the top 3, and looks like, yep, thought he was going to pit. Went, what are you going to do, dude? But he stayed out.
It's also on the backstretch, so that probably wouldn't do him a lot of good either.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I thought would be really fun? And this is something I wish was a little easier to enforce in iRacing, is I thought it'd be really fun to do a race here at Daytona with something like a stock car and run the oval, but then run the bus stop.
I was just thinking that. Seriously, I was just thinking, boy, how fun would it be if they had to do the bus stop?
I think that would be hilarious, because you've still got drafting most of the lap.
Yeah.
The bus stop wouldn't be enough to break that up, but it would throw a really heavy braking zone in a very treacherous and meticulous part of the lap.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Someday.
I think if we do another Spec Miata 50, let's do that.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Pace truck's going to pull off, and let's see if Court has learned from the other drivers as far as the restart zone goes. He's already going.
Good man. Brown timing it nicely going with him, but they both got a little gap on Soto. And that's Ortiz going to the high side. Coming up, trying to make a move on the outside of Wozencroft, who's got now Schweid right behind him with a big push.
And all those cars that just pit, they're in this mega pack back here. They've got a long way to go. Look at this, Skip Brock Jr. slicing and dicing back here in the 32.
Yeah. We got 2 bright, yellowish cars. I think Skip's is the slightly lighter yellow.
And the other's the
second one in that queue. Yeah, the other. Yeah, exactly.
Court Schmidt, 3 wide for the lead. Here comes,
boy.
Wozencroft bounces off of Schweid. They're in the wall here, and that second pack is coming. Is Schweid going to go up the racetrack? Yes. Gets clobbered by somebody. But they're on the apron now, so we're good to continue.
There's Beans. There comes Skip Brock.
Woo.
If anybody watching is not familiar with OPM on the side of his car, it's a team that means other people's money.
I love that. That's great. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh, little contact there. Burkhardt and the 44. And out front, Ortiz, Reyes, Schmidt, Soto. They bounce off each other there. And here's Dave Brown. That's that blue and white car.
He's doing a nice job, Dave is. Sticking right in this queue here. Soto's trying to come back. Court Schmidt doing a great job staying right with everybody here. Hey, look what's on the back of his car.
And me and you also on the deck lid there, all through the middle.
What a move. I think that was Mr. Soto. Getting it done, trying to work the outside. Down low, Reyes. Ortiz, he's giving Jose a little bit of a push to get him back up to the front.
Yeah, 2 teammates on the bottom there, so it's very impressive that that Soto and Schmidt have been able to hold off those teammates on the bottom.
Yeah, really, really nice. And we got a 4-car train down to the inside, and those 2 guys sort of hung out here up on the high line, but doing okay. And then now this is, I think, the pack starting with 7th. Haywo.
Yeah, if they can keep this together without running into each other, they're going to come with a big head of steam. A couple cars get together there, even still.
There it is.
Oh, there they all go. I was going to say, if they could hold it together, bigger packs will have more momentum. Beans is in it as well. But Ortiz, Reyes, who's going to lead at the time of the yellow if we get a caution flag for this? There's Schmidt on the high side.
Reyes right now, but Brown giving him a little nudge. I think that's Nicholson coming up in the 5th spot. That red car. So he's pitting. That's interesting. We haven't seen a yellow yet.
No, but he needs to. He's almost out of fuel. 21 laps on the tank.
Look at Court Schmidt with the help from Soto.
And caution.
Getting by the two teammates. So Court will lead, and he did a great job on that restart with Soto second. All right, caution number 8, give or take.
Yep, and this is going to take us under 15 laps to go. And at this point, if you haven't pit your second time, this is the last opportunity, I would say, is makes sense, because now here's what I worry about is you get closer to the end of it, and this is something we face every week in our oval racing leagues. When you've had a race that's had a bunch of yellows, you might as well set yourself up to stay on the racetrack as long as possible at the end, because as everyone else pits around you, you'll move forward and we'll keep getting yellows. You don't have to defend your positions because the yellows come out so quick. And then when the race inevitably ends under yellow, you're already still there. So that's the strategy I would take is pit as soon as you can, where you can make it to the end and then just stay out from there.
Court has not pitted yet.
He needs to in the next 5 or...
Yeah, he's got 17 on. Ooh, there's a psych move.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, someone's going to miss it back there.
Oh, and a contact in the pit lane there.
Yeah, Johnny Morrow was trying to get down. I think he missed the entrance. Let's have a look at it. Got to be to the left of the cone. And, well...
Ooh.
How much left of the cone?
Yeah, exactly. Open to interpretation.
Well, the cone says no, but we'll see what race control says. More cars, Skip Brock Jr. and more on pit lane. Sorry, Greg.
He just murdered the cone is all.
Trace Hance also on pit road. There's the 53, but I'm surprised this pairing didn't make a pit stop, especially because Jean Reyes has 21 laps on the tank of fuel that he's got.
Yeah, that's really pushing the odds here for sure. Now, what they may, he may be thinking, all right, the way this has been going, we're going to go 3 laps or so, and we're going to get a caution. Then I pit, then I'm really light to the end, maybe. Here they...
Split decision. Weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
And that's the 29 of Reyes, who needed that.
Yeah, but, I mean...
The most of all, I should say. Yeah, I know, that's just weird, though.
Jorge is only 4 laps away from being in that same position, so...
And you call a lot more oval races than I do. Is that just gamesmanship with this duck into the pit lane and then come back out trying to psych people?
I don't know if it matters, to be honest.
I know, that was kind of my point.
I mean, yes, if you were in a oval race where there's a championship on the line and you'll see some people fake onto pit lane. It's actually not all that common to see drivers fake pit lane entries, but you do see it now and then. Yeah, it's dangerous, but it also, the driver behind you has an advantage over you, so you're just you're trying to fake them out is usually works out less good for you. You'll end up spearing yourself into the pit wall attenuator, and the guy behind you will just do whatever you did last. So
yeah, exactly.
But he's got more time to think about it than you did. I've seen it executed very nicely, and I've seen people get faked, but it's a very hard skill. And again, I don't know that there's much point in that here, given that position and strategy doesn't seem to really be affecting a whole lot of the running order. It's just kind of drop all the names in a hat and shake it up and pick one out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we had a few cars look like were getting themselves able to get unlapped here.
And Jorge Ortiz is stopping on the track. Now I'm confused. Where's the pace truck?
I haven't seen it. I have not seen the pace truck.
Here it is.
Oh, okay. And I'm just really surprised that Beans has not been able to get any of those laps back when other guys have gotten 2 back easy.
I think Beans is fairly freshly 2 laps down, if I recall, a caution or 2 ago. They have definitely something is up with race control. I think all the cars pitting and not pitting has confused the race control because Ortiz is the leader, but they're waiting to pick up the pace truck that is...
Yeah. And what happened with Court? He was leading at the yellow. I don't show him as pitting.
Yeah, he's a lap... No, now he's back in the lead lap.
Down.
Yeah, I think all the super chaotic pitting situation has
Yep.
broken the race control situation here. So this is
All right, Court did pit.
yes.
Court pit. So now he's good to go. All right.
So Murphy Nichols is not. I see the pace truck picked up the wrong vehicle because of how spread out they were at the time of caution, because they were split halfway around the lap. So Jorge Ortiz is leading, but they are 37 seconds up the road and need to be behind the pace truck. So, well, I guess we'll see how this turns out.
Well, yeah, and Ortiz and Brown both need to stop. Reyes is the most recent guy to pit and sits technically in third. Butler had a late-ish stop. Hibbett just stopped. This is going to be really interesting.
Well, we're not going to get the green because the leader isn't here.
Yeah.
So this is and I bet you everyone just got, well, maybe they didn't get black flagged yet, but yeah, there's there's a nuance to oval racing, Greg.
Yes, there is.
We have not sorted it out tonight, have we?
And picking it, yeah, and it's really tough sometimes to get the leader. I remember I was announcing a Pro Atlantic race at Nazareth Speedway many years ago, and the next day the Indy cars were running, and I didn't have anything to do, and they came to me and asked if I would station at the entrance to turn 3, because it was one of the short ovals where race control couldn't see pit in because it dipped, and they needed somebody, and all my job was to stand there, and if the lead 3 cars say pitted, which I could see race control couldn't, was to tell race control what the next car through that did not pit was. You know, and I mean, they had to have it, or you were going to have an absolute mess with any kind of stops like that.
Well, now they've caught the leaders. They're in the restart zone. They're going to get the green now. I bet you there's a flurry of black flags that need to be cleared because everyone was already accelerated. So this is going to. I don't envy any of the stewards at the moment. Here comes Greg Ginsburg to the lead with the Oreo car.
What a run, yeah. And I'm pretty sure I saw. Did I see Ortiz duck into the pits as well?
Again, this is why I was confused why he didn't. Well, no, Ortiz is here. It was the other car.
Oh, there he is. It was, one of those team cars, though. Interesting. Yeah, well, Ginsburg got one hell of a start.
I thought I knew what was happening until about 10 minutes ago, and now I'm confused. Nathan Nicholson and Greg Ginsburg lead this race, coming up on 11 to go.
And by a bunch right now. I mean, that's a lead of over a second at this stage. Ginsburg car also has a great graphics package, and I think this is smart. And Nathan Nicholson just get behind him, push, and trying to just get as much of a gap as possible here, and hope that another big one happens that keeps them out front.
And there goes Ortiz off to pit lane, as we surmised he would have to do. But that second pack is going to come with a big head of steam. They've got more cars, more momentum. Yep. And Nicholson and Ginsburg are going to get run over. 144 miles an hour from Camden Hibbett leading that second pack.
Wow, that's incredible. And Ginsburg still owes us a stop, as does Jordan Butler, Dave Brown, Spolman, Nichols, Mayer. A lot of those guys up in that top group are going to have to stop one more time. Hibbett and Nicholson are golden, though.
I bet with the closer draft here, as you see the leaders go side by side and behind Hibbett, we're going to see north of 145, 146 miles an hour into turn 3. 144, 145. No, he's caught the car, so he's going to have to slow up. 3 wide for 4th.
Here we go. That pack, way up by the wall. And 3 abreast through the oval here, this 31-degree banking.
And Jim Mayer, he was spinning through the grass about 8 laps ago. Ginsburg's off, but he's going to be speeding into pit lane by a lot. That was way too fast into pit road. Might be calling it a night. He just came to a stop.
I think he realized I got to stop, and I'm losing this whole thing here. Is Nicholson with the help of the 132 of Hibbett right there. And Seth Spolman has driven a really savvy race. Sits now in 3rd, that black car with the bright yellow wheels. So we look at the young man.
Camden Hibbett with Spolman right behind him. Small group up here at the front. There's 3 seconds back. There's another group that's coming with a big head of steam. including Morgan Burkhardt, Luis Molares, Josh Soto, and more. And a little contact there with Hibbett and Jordan Butler, who's back. Big slide there. 4 wide.
And here's Spolman doing a superb job. Here's that second pack.
Yeah, Morgan, and they're crashing. Butler's turned around up on his lid. Dave Brown's in it, and looks like Morgan's just going to carve through it. I was going to say this pack in particular, I think they've got a good group of cars here between Luis Molares, Soto, and Morgan Burkhardt, so that, well, they're going to get a yellow. So I was going to say if they had green, they could get organized enough to catch that lead group.
So that race that had 24 yellows?
Yes.
How many laps?
225.
I think we're going to beat that in terms of percentage.
I think so as well. I wonder how many green laps.
That's number 9 for us here.
You might be right.
Like I said, I could have missed one.
Let's go back and see what happened to 72 of Butler. He's still only 10th because the rest of the pack was pretty far behind. Dave Brown on the bottom. It was these two that got together. Oh,
there it is. Oof.
Was Spolman kind of coming up off the apron there a touch.
And I think he got tapped by Brown there in the 105. Watch it here.
Right there, yep.
Right there. Just enough to knock Spolman a little kitty wampus, and that just launched Butler. That looks like a landing light at an airport.
It does, doesn't it? Oh, man. So this is now getting into the stage where when we get this restart, we're going to be knocking on the door of our green-white checkered scenario.
Yeah, we are.
Although something tells me the extra laps probably aren't necessary. I think we're going to only need 50. But we might, if we get a wreck right after the restart, we might not yet be at that stage.
Okay.
Given that the yellows are pretty short. This is going to hopefully correct a bunch of the race control mishaps from the previous yellow. So Nathan Nicholson will catch the pace truck. And I think we're not going to have that awkward split down the middle, leaders in one place, rest of the pack in the other.
Okay. I hope that doesn't mean the pace truck doesn't get to pitch it and hang it out.
Oh,
just because.
I think we missed it that time, but he's already down to.
Yeah,
down
he's
to
way down the road.
You know, one time I asked Drew, Greg, you're familiar with Drew from iRacing.
Yes.
I asked him, why couldn't we get more pace car models? We've got, I think, 4 to choose from. There's a truck, there's a Porsche. Maybe it's only 3. Truck, Porsche, or the old Ford FR500 Mustang. I asked Drew why we couldn't have more, and he told me that it's not trivial because the pace cars have physics just like everything else. I would like to send him a video of that thing drifting at 150 through turn 2 on the banking. And this portion as well.
Oh, this is interesting.
Well, can't quite hit the pace car.
No. It doesn't look that tall. This is going to be really interesting here. And let's see if Nicholson gets that acceleration zone. And look who's second.
Morgan Burkhardt. And he was coming with that head of steam I mentioned.
He was.
So he was going to get here no matter what. The question now is, he started on pole. It's been a long, wild race. The question now is, can he stay up here? He's only led 3 laps because all the chaos pretty much started at the get-go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, but he's got that run. He had that big, as you said, head of steam going. Then the incident happened up front. He was able to scythe his way through it. This is, I think, a pretty stout group up at the front here. As you talked to Nicholson, Burkhardt, Molares has shown speed. Soto certainly has. Butler's been fast when Brock hasn't been batted around like a ping pong ball. He's been fast. And Fletcher, quickest guy in practice, sits in 8th. Schmidt, who led strongly, sitting in that 10th spot right now.
But feels like we've lost cars.
He's dropping down the order, though, it looks like.
Which car?
Kurt Schmidt.
Where did he end up? 11th. Seems scored 11th now.
Yeah, he had just been sitting in 9th, according to the graphic.
Interesting. It feels like we lost cars along the way, but we've only lost 3. since the drop of the green flag. We've got 30 cars still running, and 19 of them are on the lead lap.
You know, that's pretty darn impressive.
I mean, the no damage helps.
Oh, of course, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, everyone's sticking it out. So, at this stage, I'm fairly confident in saying that if we get at least one lap of green, we will, if we get another caution, it will be a green-white checkered scenario.
Okay.
If we get an immediate yellow right on the restart lap, we might get one more before the green-white checkered start kicking in. And a reminder of that rule set, as we'll get the 1 to green here this time by, in a green-white checkered scenario, we'll get a restart. And in that lap after the restart, if we get a yellow flag, we will extend the race and try again. If we get around that entire lap and get to the white flag lap, the race will finish checkers or wreckers, basically. No cautions on once that white flag is out. You're coming back no matter what.
Okay, that makes sense.
And let me tell you, in the real world, NASCAR will throw a caution on the last lap, and they'll freeze the running order to prevent absolute pandemonium. iRacing doesn't do that no matter what. So we had a couple races at Daytona or Talladega where we got all the way to a green-white checkered. We exhausted our green-white checkered opportunities, and then we got to the white flag, and we had a big crash, and then we were just left with 2 or 3 cars battling it out all the way around.
Right.
And we've had scenarios where those 2 cars crashed each other and lost. And someone from 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th comes out of nowhere and wins the race.
And wins it. Wow. Okay.
Few and far between, but it has happened before. And the restart will be with 5 to go.
Well, and sorry, I was just crunching a couple numbers. I'm really thinking we've got this, the percentage of caution, we've got this one nailed.
What's the percentage?
Well, the percentage of caution for, because I mean, if we get one more, we'll have 10, so that makes the math easy, right?
Yes.
And that's 20%.
One every 5 laps, effectively, yeah?
Yeah, and 20 with 24 cautions and 250 laps, it was like 9.6% or something. So.
All right.
All right.
5 to go, Greg.
It's the time, baby. Nicholson, let's see how he plays this restart. He waits, he waits, he waits. He didn't go very strongly. Burkhardt's there. Let's see what Molares and Soto, that second group of 2, can do. Butler, the outside, Brock. And here comes Fletcher, and it didn't take long for this whole group to catch Nicholson and Burkhardt. I think it was because Nicholson waited till the end of that restart zone. And here we go, 3 abreast as we head in. Oh boy, let's get through this, guys. Let's make it happen here. Nicholson down low, Burkhardt and Brock in that train.
Oh, watch out.
And Molares getting tapped by Fletcher. Oh, Fletcher getting rubbed pretty good by, I think that was Soto. All right.
Down the backstretch, 3 wide.
This is it.
4 wide. Who's in the middle there? That's Jim Mayer, I think.
That is.
Wow.
And is that Molares?
One of them is.
Mayer's gone to the front. Oh.
Schweid's in the wall.
Schweid, and everybody's coming after him now, contact-wise. Trace Hance right there.
It's just the trailing group, though. We might stay green for a little longer. Lap 47, 4 to go. Fletcher and Meyer side by side for the lead.
Morrow, down to the inside. Nicholson up there. And then there's that push going in. That's Fletcher. Oh my goodness. Launch City for Trace Hance.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Still going. Wait, see if somebody else collects him, because that would just continue it. Wow. And Hibbett, look at that, right in the mix.
Trying for it with a push. Push from
3 abreast, 2 rows of 3 here at Hibbett, trying to nose ahead. He's there. He's officially got it. If we get a caution, Hibbett will lead him.
Oh, there goes the 77.
Soto gets turned. Schmidt and Soto getting together there. Oh, and a heck of a save down to the bottom there.
Lap 48, 3 to go this time by Hibbett, Nicholson, Burkhardt.
Oh, look at how close this is. Burkhardt opts to go with Nicholson on the high side, trying to push him around the outside. Now Burkhardt pops to the outside on his own.
And caution.
It is 3 abreast as the caution comes out.
All right, so this will be overtime, and what that means now is we'll extend the race distance as long as necessary to get the caution sequence complete. And then all we have to get, Greg, is 1 green flag lap, and this race will be conclusive.
All right. Wow. Nicholson was able to fend off Burkhardt and Hibbett, who were doing everything they could to try and get by him here. And that's, I'll tell you what, having Burkhardt and Hibbett teamed up behind you coming to a green, that wouldn't make me comfortable.
No, and I imagine there's going to be some gamesmanship here on the restart, which, again, when the focus of a league is oval racing, you look at these rule books and you go, why are these rule books 50 pages long? And it's for all the loopholes when it comes down to the restart rules and things like that. So drivers are smart. They figured out all the ways around the systems, and you got to save them from themselves.
Yeah.
So
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, does anyone need to pit? I don't think so. Jordan Butler has 18 laps, but he should be good. So I think we're all done in pit lane, at least needing to hit pit road.
Yeah, would he be okay if we end up with repeated green-white checkers?
Not at the theoretical max.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens here. Ooh.
We're still catching the pace truck. By the way, we should mention we had 8x time acceleration on this whole time. Sun's coming back up.
Oh, my. We've raced through the night.
We actually have.
Yeah. That's how long all those cautions have taken.
Yeah, it feels like that a little bit. As the
it does a bit.
Sun's coming back up over the ocean there to the east.
Do we have some, well, it'll be cycled through. I got to give a big shout out here after the beating he's taken to see Skip Brock still in the top 10, sitting in 9th right in front of Court Schmidt. He has, out of these 10 cautions, I think he's been clobbered in like 6, 7 of them, so he just keeps coming back.
Yeah, he has just been persistently fighting through it.
You know, the other guy that just, the speed we've seen, I wouldn't count Ortiz out of this.
I wouldn't either. I mean, well, he had his teammate working with him earlier.
Yeah, but he also, when he didn't have his teammate, he got that massive restart. Oh, somebody ducking into the pits.
That's Court. No, who is that? Is
that Millar?
That's Ortiz.
That is Ortiz.
Yeah, that's peculiar.
Well,
he only had 7 laps on the tank of fuel, so it's not like he needed to go down there.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. Is he going for tires?
Yeah, he is putting tires on the car. I don't know if that. I mean, maybe after 50 laps, maybe they are worth taking. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but from, with 2 laps to go, essentially, regardless of when we go green.
By the way, Daytona in the morning in iRacing, underrated. Look, I mean, I don't get to see this very often.
No, they've got that glint of that low morning light pretty nice off those grandstands.
Yeah, you don't normally race here in the morning other than the 24 hours of Daytona. And that's not something I have had the pleasure of broadcasting just yet. Usually you're coming here in the afternoon, evening, or night.
So will does the lap board just essentially stay at 50 of 52 right now?
Yeah, so it's going to, the ladder number will continue to increase. I think we're going to it'll tack 1 more lap on there. We'll be coming to the restart at lap 52 of 53.
Gotcha.
So it basically increments by 1 until we get to the restart.
It's going to be really interesting to see if this time, if Nicholson uses that restart zone a little bit more adeptly, or if he just waits till the end of it. I mean, he did a nice job, even though I didn't think, use it very well. He did a great job of defending and stayed in the lead. So
How about that shot?
Isn't that gorgeous? I've seen that in real life a few times. And it can be just that pretty. And it can also be 40 degrees and raining. And thoroughly unpleasant.
Oh, we can actually watch the sun come up. You see it in the
Look at this.
bottom right there?
Yep.
We are getting the 1 to green. But we're actually physically watching the sunrise over that building there in the oh, there it is.
There it is. Good morning.
Oh man, I don't normally get to see this because the time, real time's pretty slow.
Yep.
That's cool.
That's really fun. All right. Well, what odds are you taking here, Kyle, on this getting the checker this go?
I think we can do it. I think if the drivers behave, I think we can get it done. Will the drivers behave? That's a little trickier.
Yeah,
here.
Exactly. That's the question.
I think if everyone does the restart the way the restart should be done, we will get this done in one go.
And as you were telling me previously that if the leader gets to the white flag before mayhem erupts, it's a done deal.
Yeah, and this is all going to come down to how quick the button gets hit as well, because these are not automatic cautions. Usually, that's the fear by the oval drivers is when the crash starts. It's not usually very long after that the yellow is triggered.
Right.
But with the human factor, who knows how quick that'll get triggered and whether or not it'll happen late or early. But in a lap of pacing, the sun has gone pretty significantly up. I love the time acceleration's cool.
It is. That's amazing.
Wow, that is pretty. All right, Greg.
All right.
2 to go.
This is
maybe.
it. 2 to go. Yeah, maybe. I like that. That's a good point. But let's see what we can do. Nicholson from Burkhardt, Hibbett, Milares, Butler, Friedhofer coming to the line. Pace truck down into the pit lane. They're in the acceleration zone. He rolled into it. It looked like a little bit sooner that time. Not by much, though. They are glued to him right now. Burkhardt with Hibbett on his 6. Milares laid back a little bit. As a result, looked like he got a little bit of a run, but had to just shut down on it at this stage.
A little bit of bobbling and weaving back here. One car
That's Jim Brown getting all crossed up.
I think we're going to stay
that
green.
Wasn't Brown.
Nicholson, Burkhardt, Hibbett, your top 3. Everybody, look at everyone skittering around banking here trying to find grip.
Yeah, and Butler trying to come down, use that inside line. There he is, the 72. But look at the pace from the guys, including Max Schweid in that black and blue car up high, and there it is. A big turnaround. Burkhardt's gone. Others as well. Nicholson stays in it. Who jumps into it? Milares, Butler, who was down way tight to the inside, and that looks to be this, in many cases, the way to be. Then a big gap back to Friedhofer. Then Spolman, but Nicholson. Let's see what happens.
Coming to the
white.
Are
we staying green?
If the leader crosses the stripe, this
white
race.
Flag!
Oh no, they threw it.
No, they threw the yellow.
Oh, we were so
sorry.
close.
I'm not updating. That's yellow 11.
Yeah.
Wow, so close.
How close? Here's a look at it again. Well, let's try that again. It's not when the white waves, it's when the line is crossed. And right there, 200 feet away.
Yep, boom. Wow. Oh, man. So now it's 53 of 55, and that'll change again, right?
Yep. And so, Jordan Butler, 23 laps on his tank of fuel.
Yeah. He's the one I would say at real risk here. Luis Milares has 19.
Where's that sun at now?
It's just up.
Yeah, it is up.
That's incredible. I don't know. I mean, really don't know where these guys are technically sitting on fuel.
Yeah.
I see Nicholson driving up and even underneath this pace truck. Is he trying to get a tow?
That's a great question. I don't know if the
save some fuel.
Well,
is he pitting?
No.
No.
Jordan Butler is. He has to.
Yeah, he has no option.
And I think there's someone else following him there as well.
Could have been Skip Brock. He had 17. But, you know, Nicholson has 18 and Malaris has 19 since that last stop. So,
one to green.
Oh boy, here we go.
There.
This is going to be fascinating.
So Nicholson, Malaris, Friedhofer, Spolman, Skip Brock Jr. What a story it would be if Skip Brock Jr. could come back and win this.
Oh, wouldn't this be? That would be stunning. It would be absolutely stunning. You know, he's marginal on fuel. He's got 18 laps on. Spolman is good to go without question. Puto would be, or Ortiz would be super good to go. So, you know, and some of this is going to come down to, if there is something, who can thread the needle too.
Yeah, I mean, threading the needle, picking your path through. The thing is we didn't really get a lot of consecutive green running for drivers to really experiment with that. A lot of the times they tried it, they missed. So it's going to be interesting to see how drivers contend with this on the last lap when they only get one shot at it.
I really think that Nicholson's thinking he's marginal on fuel and he's got the lead. He doesn't want to get rid of it, so he's trying to side draft, back draft, anything he can off of this big old pick 'em up.
Got the clutch in too. See the revs drop down.
Well, look at his fuel, 0.0.
Yeah, I don't know if iRacing pushes that through on the server side.
Okay.
It does. Gotcha. It pushes through gear and RPM as far as I know, and that's basically it. So.
All right.
Yeah, if it was 0, he wouldn't have revs to rev.
Yeah, so I was going to say. All right. Aggressive move to the pits by the pace truck, and here we go, Kyle. And that is Puto ducking in. And I thought he was pretty good to go on fuel here, but here we go.
Well.
Oh!
Okay, well, that didn't go so well.
Get the start.
Skip Brock is going to take the lead away here. Jeremy Fletcher is back.
All over the place in the background. Fletcher, that's a great story. Starting from the front, and there's, wow, that was that Morrow got a little wobbly there and cleared out a couple of people. Trace Hance just bouncing off the wall up there, still trying to save it. So we continue green at least to this point. And Fletcher, big old lead right now with Brock. Over a second back, Morrow, another half second back.
Is there a mercy rule here? Let's see if Skip Brock can catch up to 1.2 seconds. I don't know if he's closing.
Let's see what happens here. We're still green, and he's making time up. Barely, but a little bit.
He is, and I think he'll have time to get there, especially with help from Morrow and Friedhofer.
Yeah, here because they're coming too. This is it. White flag this time.
And we got it. Whew.
Oh, man. So, does Fletcher have the pace to run on his own? And here comes this group behind. Now it's a threesome. Morrow swinging out wide. Friedhofer going even higher. Morrow goes to the lead into second with Friedhofer pushing him. Brock staying down to the inside, not letting Morrow come down. Oh, no, and Morrow loses it, comes across the nose of Brock. Here comes Friedhofer. Got a great run, steams by on Fletcher, but now Fletcher, does he have an answer? Can he pick up enough of a tow?
He might have enough time. 3/10 back with this speed. If he can do this right, he might have enough.
They're clear. They got a second ahead of everybody. It's mano a mano. Coming out of NASCAR 3, Fletcher building the head of steam up. He is coming. Friedhofer, all defensive. Which way to go? Friedhofer stays low, says you go high. Oh. They are side by side. It's Fletcher at the line, according to scoring, by 5/1000th of a second, Kyle.
That was awesome. Took a while to get there, but we got there.
Wow. Look at this.
Did I miss that?
Yep, just a bit. That's all right. Here we go. Look at how close. Boom. Wow, that was incredible. Spolman, a great clean ride to third. Here we go.
And right there, that's the margin of victory. 5,000ths of a second. In the number 69. That is awesome.
That looks like about a thousandth of per inch.
Yeah,
that close.
And did it cleanly there between those two at the end, Greg.
Yeah, and for all of the insanity we had, that finish ended up being worth every minute of wait.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't have that last yellow and then ending under caution. That would have been a real bummer on the end of the day. But here's a look at the race results. Fletcher by 5,000ths over Friedhofer.
Just incredibly close, and obviously with that incident, giving them that little bit of breathing room to just focus on each other. But Seth Spolman, I thought, really heads-up drive. He stayed remarkably clean through that. Eric Haywo, he was right there early, went way to the back, came up through the field into fourth. Luke Law led for a bit, ended up in fifth. Johnny Morrow got a little loose and caused that late contretemps from everybody chasing those guys up at the front. Skip Brock, the Cinderella story. When your name's Skip Brock Jr., apparently you just can't let that Cinderella story work out for you.
No,
and Ortiz
not.
with that late stop, and Reyes, and then here's the rest of the field. Morgan Burkhardt back in 15th. Interesting what we saw play out here.
Yeah, very interesting, but I think tonight Fletcher was able to snag through 5,000ths of a second. Greg, that's going to wrap up the show tonight. Long show this evening.
Yes,
as we got her back around. We'll wrap things up here. Full Send Sims, make sure you check out their website to get notifications on the full upcoming season, which will kick off in January, Greg, before we fire things off back on the road courses next season.
Absolutely, and it is going to be absolutely fun. Season 1 starts January 9th, and it'll be a full 10-race season with 2 drops, then a 6-week break. And we do it again April 30th to July 2nd, then a break, and then August 20th to October 22nd, award ceremony November 12th. And we do need to say a huge thank you, of course, to Court Schmidt, who had an interesting race today, led for a while, from Full Send Sims for coming up with this whole concept and the like. And, of course, the gang from Final Turn Motorsports and 3P Logistics. And then, of course, our sponsor that came on board midway through the season, Wine Country. And it allowed us all to come here and have a bit of fun for the Full Send Sims Esports Spec Miata 50 at Daytona International Raceway. For Kyle, I'm Greg Creamer. It has been an absolutely great season with Full Send Sims Spec Miata Racing. Hope you enjoyed this one. This was insanely fun, and we will be back with more in 2024. We'll see y'all then.